Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Realm of Ori. In this video, we will continue with Volume 12, Prologue, Clowns on the Run, Part 3. And before we start, this video contains spoilers from the anime and manga series. And by the way guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's get into the video. He had figured out Yuki's physical constitution when Yuki first attacked. Guy had already seen through his quirk. He even planned a counter for it. So what if Yuki cancelled magic and skill? As long as he was human, it would be a piece of cake to beat him. Humans are fragile. Their weak bodies have many weaknesses to take advantage of. Guy doesn't have to think hard to come up with different ways to kill someone. Besides, Yuki's physical abilities are less than Guy's. When Yuki launched his kick, Guy only left a small barrier as a defense, but even though Yuki's kick was too penetrating, even a nick was left. In terms of magicule ability, the comparison of the two is almost ridiculous. Guy's rival can rival a true dragon, so even if Yuki cancels his magic, he can immediately return it without hindrance. If I just wanted to kill you, then I wouldn't have come here myself. Now since I'm here, you'd better amuse me. Guy provoked Yuki, arrogant as he stood over him. He wanted to make Yuki desperate to get all out, and then he would immediately beat her to a pulp. Yuki painfully thought about what Guy was planning, but he couldn't gather. He lost his remaining confidence in his face. He started analyzing the situation, desperately trying to figure out a way to get through it. His genius brain decided that the strength gap was light years across, but Yuki wouldn't give up. He is looking for all possibilities. The only ray of hope he could understand was that Guy underestimated them. Yuki has other trump cards. They are the superpower he gave birth with, as well as the greedy one he took from Maribel. In addition, he has his creator, who can create any skill he needs for the situation. Using creator can help him overcome this disaster. Steadying his breath, Yuki faced Guy again. Don't get cocky just because I've shown a fraction of my power. He wasn't being a sore loser, he meant it. If he could make his opponent angry, he would lose composure and make mistakes. That was his plan. As he spoke, Yuki allowed his power to surge through his body. He now used the power he usually suppressed, concentrating his mind on a singular task. To remodel his body to fit his will, he evolved from a human to a sage, and then once more to become a saint. He evolved to a form surpassing Hinata herself, and ceased to breathe. A fully evolved saint was equal to a spiritual life form. While Hinata was still being limited by her body, Yuki had reached a higher plane of existence. Now, he had overcome the need to breathe at all. He cast out the weaknesses of humanity and greatly elevated his existence. If he were to convert all his energy into magicules, he could rival Leon and Luminos. Yet, Guy was not fazed by this either. How disappointing. Is that all you're capable of? You won't be able to win against me, even if we fought 1,000,000 times over, he said dismissively, nonchalant as always. Perhaps. In that case, I'll do my best to entertain you. Yuki's proclamation kicked off the battle anew. A second later, Yuki learned why Guy was regarded as the strongest demon lord. The scene is desperate. Yuki was lying on the ground, physically outmatched. Against Guy's enormous strength, none of Yuki's attacks worked. It was no use trying any more tricks. Not even his strongest, most polished attack could leave a scratch on Guy. Damn it all. Yuki didn't have the strength to get up again. The most he could do was curse Guy. At this point, his prevailing stability is commendable. Laplace's eyes glued to the battle. He could never forget what he saw unfold. Using his strange strength, psychokinesis, Yuki pulled all the stops to see what would work on Guy. He focuses the stone, kindles a fire, exerts force, and releases waves of thought distraction. However, all of this was easily countered. Although he uses ridiculous force, 30 times stronger than an average person, to launch attacks at speeds of more than 100 meters per second, his attack is childish play to Guy. Yuki's main method of defense, anti-skill, is no exception. It didn't stop Guy's magic after a few hits. That won't work on me anymore, Guy taunted. Apparently he figured out how to counter the anti-skill, somehow. This is a frightening fact. Kazarium and Clayman have mentioned the 10 great demon lords in the past. They emphasize that Guy and Milim are particularly strong, but this vast difference is inconceivable. If they had known this earlier, they would never have agreed to the naive ambition of world conquest. Laplace has finally learned his place in the food chain, and he must avoid those at the top. He always chose to hide his true strength even from his closest companions, even against a demon lord like Guy, even though he never made a scratch. Guy is on a different plane of existence compared to them. Laplace could not even see an opening for an attack. Even Yuki, who was definitely stronger than him, was lying helplessly on the ground like a baby. In how things have evolved, it is easier to travel in space than to get out of this life. Laplace made up his mind. He put on his usual half-hearted attitude and stepped in front of Guy. Magnificent, Demon Lord Guy-sama. We, the moderate clown troupe, are open to any business requests. Currently, we are already employed by Yuki over there. Since our boss has lost now, we may logically consider our contract terminated, huh? Laplace, what are you say? Laplace put on the face of betrayal, pretending to betray his comrades, though rather flippantly. He didn't know what Guy's exact personality was, but had heard that he was extremely selfish and arrogant. He seems completely disinterested in the weak. Unless he has met you, you are not allowed to talk to him. Laplace approaching Guy with this habit flirts with death. But at the same time, it also means he has Guy's attention. This can give Yuki enough time for him to escape. Laplace made gambling. Never betray your comrades and never betray your client. That's the golden rule of the moderate clown troupe. That's why Laplace thought Yuki would definitely get into his unspoken plan. Footman was too much of a loose cannon and not the sharpest tool in the shed. But he was also very thoughtful of his companions. Ter was actually stronger than Clayman, yet she was too timid to show her true ability. And even though both of them had the bad habit of getting over their heads sometimes, they worked fine under Yuki. It was because of this that Laplace decided to sacrifice himself. I'm sure I'd be of help to Guy-sama. So what do ya say, at least spare me my life? Laplace shamelessly declared in open treachery. Footman and Ter were in utter confusion, as Guy looked on in curiosity, as the edges of his mouth slowly widened with a grin. Laplace also has no plans to dig his own grave. There is little hope for Guy as your opponent, but he still has little chance of saving his life. That's why he didn't hesitate any longer and decided to end his sentence. Ahaha, don't push yourself like that, Laplace. Seriously, am I really that unreliable? Someone spoke before Laplace. It was Yuki, shakily standing up. Yuki prepared himself for his own death. At this moment, his heart was filled with unquenchable resentment. He was angry at his own helplessness. He got even angrier when he heard what Laplace said. Yuki was able to interpret Laplace's words correctly. Laplace would never betray him. In other words, what he said was all gesture. Even when Yuki was in a remorseful state, Laplace still chose to believe him. His mind revolved around joy, but also with guilt. If only I had more power. Realistically, nobody would be there to respond to his desperate thought. Yet at that moment, something spoke inside Yuki's mind. You want power? You need my help. Yuki was baffled. He thought he might have been hallucinating from the exhaustion, but the voice definitely sounded real. Just trade places with me. You will obtain the strongest power. Your wish is to conquer the world. Taking my help will make it a cakewalk. Come on, make your decision. The strange voice's proposition irritated Yuki. Shut up, I am me. It may be different from borrowing the strength of my companions, but I won't stoop so low as to borrow a stranger's power to fulfill my ambition. Yuki was confident in his choice to decline the offer. After all, the pursuit of a personal ambition will only be meaningful if it is achieved without outside help. Yuki has principles too. The voice fell silent, seemingly confused about his unexpected response. Changing gears, Yuki quickly brought his mind back to the situation at hand, disregarding the voice he could no longer hear. Even though the situation had become desperate, something caught Yuki's attention. He realized that Guy must have had some goal. Indeed, while Guy likely wanted to engage in battle, there must be some other reason. Guy said something along the lines of, I don't want Rudra to gain more strength. In other words, if he would not go into the Eastern Empire and assist Rudra, Guy wouldn't need to kill Yuki and his companions. At least, that's how Yuki interpreted it. So, then why didn't Guy kill Yuki immediately?